Welcome to another edition of Strange New Pod. I'm your Fleet Admiral and host, Julian Brown, alongside the best bridge crew this side of a Bajoran solar sailor. Captain Hawk is here and doesn't have to worry about having his arm cut off and reattached multiple times because hologram.
I still worry.
You should still worry a little bit. Yeah. And Captain Emcee is here waiting for that special someone aboard the Lexington. Welcome back. How we doing, guys?
I don't know if I want to meet somebody on the Lexington, considering they can't tell that, Julian Bashir is not an Andorian name and they're a doctor.
That is a little bit troublesome. I'm not going to lie. I was like, you graduated from Starfleet Academy. It's all good. It was fun. The Lexington, though, I like the name of that ship, though.
Yeah.
That's nice.
How we doing, guys?
Doing all right. Just a little worried. I still have stuff to buy for Christmas.
So do we.
Uh-huh.
It's that time.
That's the way it is the week before Christmas.
Oh, yeah.
You hear that, guys? It's a week.
It's less.
Stop it.
It's less. Come on.
Yeah. Wild. It's our final live show of 2025. We made it, guys.
Yeah.
Whether we have a few years off of our lives or not remains to be seen. But we made it. We made it. Actually, there's still a few more weeks, 2 more weeks of 2025. So who knows? But it is our final live show of 2025 at Emcee. This episode was actually your idea to talk about some under the radar favorite episodes, ones that people might be like, that episode, or that episode, who might not even agree with us. We're going to be mixing in the collective's under the radar episodes throughout tonight, which is going to be a lot of fun. There's we got a lot of mailbag for our last live show of the year, which thank you guys. You rock. Really great. For us, we are going to be talking about TNG's Arsenal of Freedom all the way from season 1, Schisms from season 6, and DS9's Explorers from season 3. It is Ben Sisko's first episode with the goatee.
Yeah. That's not why it's my favorite. It's one of the reasons, but it's not the whole reason.
That's not your only reason? Yes, there is. Wait, there is a Moopsie behind me? I don't see a Moopsie behind me.
Isn't there one by the Deep Space Nine?
No. It's funny. That looks like it could be a Moopsie.
Oh, it's a Borg.
Oh, Funko Borg.
That's the Borg queen.
It did look like a Moopsie.
Looks could be deceiving until
like
you
two
get
Moopsies
fucking
were stalking you.
assimilated. That's John Luke. That's Locutus.
Hey.
Yeah. No, not a Moopsie. My Moopsie is somewhere stalking me for sure. Oh, and there goes Locutus. God damn it. I've gone and done it. Well, Locutus is going to be down for the count for the rest of the episode.
Sleep.
Well, that
Sleep.
makes sense
Daytime.
because we're talking about under the radar episodes. So, Locutus is from one of the best episodes. So, it's.
That was good. I liked what you
Contrast.
did there.
Yes.
We are going to get all of that to that. Before we do, though, Hawk, we need to thank our amazing patron collective one more time for 2025 at the Ready Room level and above, please, sir.
So wishing you guys a peaceful transition into 2026. Thanks once again to Simon Stager, Jeff Reeve, Tallulah, Jen Stein, Tina Alexander, Joe Saporito, Kang Wee, Takako Nagumo, Fernando Nogales, SMK, Colin Davidson, Shatterhand 2049, Jesco, Michael Graham, Emily and Travis, Maggie Light, Wayne Ritz, Skonavark, Sean, Jay Howard, Mahalani Uchiyama, Matt Harker, Joshua Lewis, Tara Polen, Slope 74, Rude Parakeet, Adam Sanders, Amy the Magic Snail, Aaron W., Carl Lingoli, Michael Kwan, Caitlin, Elizabeth Dean, Jim McMahon, Sedano 317, Puka Hair, 3 Fries Short, Cat Tip, Tripping the Reed Alert Over a Pineapple, Sean Manning, Asher at the Bat, Chris Waterman, RHCB, Martin Simpson, Norman Buckwald, David Prime Hildebrand, Karen J. Robinson, Todd Grinner, Eric the Red, Trouble, Jamie Roberts, Honeyberry, Paul Taylor Pitt, Brett Jones, Michelle P., Margin Walker 82, Melissa Bartell, Jesse Robbins, Kim, Chris Finoglio, Felix Dax, Kelly McKinnon, Chief Petty Officer Snuggles, Lisa Moore, Kristen Byer, and our newest collective member, Big Easy Blasphemy. Thank you very much. Have a great holidays, everyone.
Yeah, have a very happy holidays. So whatever you celebrate, happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas. I'm not sure when Kwanzaa comes up this year, but happy Kwanzaa as well. of course, and also happy solstice to all my witches out there. I love you. I love you. A big thank you to our Badmirals, our EPs, who make sure our arm deals are Latinum proof, and Solar Sails are space worthy. Simon Stager, Chris Waterman, Tara Poland, Dana, Matt Harker, Jim McMahon, Maggie Light, Pfeff, and Michael Graham. Y'all fucking rock. Thank you so much. Can't do it without you. Brief news real quick tonight. Maybe brief. Sometimes it takes longer than usual. I don't know. I haven't been on a lot of shows recently, so we'll see how long it takes. As mentioned, this is our last live show of 2025, but we still have brand new episodes dropping the next 2 weeks on Christmas Day and New Year's Day. So next week, I sat down with Star Trek Adventures project manager Jim Johnson. It was an awesome interview. He's a great dude. That was a very long overdue interview. He joins me. We're going to talk about the Star Trek Adventures and just the ever-evolving TTRPG landscape. A lot of folks in the collective have found their TTRPG era this year, including Emcee and myself. We are playing a few different games. It has been a lot of fun, Star Trek Adventures being one of them, and a lot of cool stuff coming to Star Trek Adventures on the horizon for 2026, including what I can talk about right now, which came out, I believe, on the 10th, the final supplement this year, free supplement of logs. Like, they're like basically blurbs to get you started on a one shot or even a campaign. They're called 5-year missions, and those just came out. You can find a link to those on our Facebook. I am ridiculously inspired by like 3 or 4 of them, and I'm probably going to be inserting them, one of them, into the campaign we're going to be starting in 2026 with the Patreon Collective. So some cool stuff coming your way there. And then on New Year's Day, Giraffe and I had the pleasure actually earlier this morning of sitting down with Star Trek Discovery writer Carlos Sisko, who also wrote on Star Trek Adventures, and a TTRPG that Emcee and I are playing with one of our amazing Badmirals, Michael, actually 2 of our Badmirals, Michael and Dana, Daggerheart, which is made by the folks over at Critical Role and Darrington Press. So all of our worlds are colliding. That was another great interview that we had today. That'll drop on New Year's Day. Can't wait for you all to hear those. And then go on our Instagram and Threads. Check out our Spotify Wrapped. Just like another incredible, crazy year of growth for this show. And that can never be done without you guys. So thank you. It's just awesome. That's all I got to say about that. I heard there was beer and pizza. There's no beer and pizza tonight. I'm sorry, but we could maybe order some for you, Chris. Did I miss any other news?
Quickly, the last episode of Trek Master Quiz is going to be on Saturday. It's going to be our holiday special. And for anybody who wants to be on Trek Master Quiz, feel free to contact me, and me and Davey will set you up to be on the show.
Everybody should do that show at least once or twice or multiple times, because it's so much fun. It's the best. So, let's do this thing. Anything else? We good? Last news of 2025. Cool.
Suck it 2025.
Suck it 2025. You sucked. Some of it was cool.
Yeah.
Let's do the Strange Loop, because I have one this week.
Oh.
So Emcee had the idea of doing our favorite under the radar episodes, but if you had to choose one episode of Trek that people love, but is low-key loathed by you, what would it be? What would that episode be? And I still don't know if I've come up with one, so someone else please go first.
I have one.
Okay.
Oh, let's do it.
And this might get me killed.
Uh-oh.
I think that Space Seed is only beloved because of Wrath of Khan. I think it is a incredibly average episode that is buoyed by an incredible film.
I don't think that's too terrible of a hot take, if I'm being completely honest.
You know what? Like, the reasons are there, right? Your reasons are perfect in that. If there was no Wrath of Khan, would that even be like in anybody's list? I don't know.
maybe not. But yeah, Spacey's fine. It's fine. Yeah.
It was the seed of something bigger that grew into, the enormous tree that we know is Khan in the Trek universe. But yeah, I would agree with that. Pretty average episode.
Thank you.
Real quick before we go further with this conversation, we have to give a bit of a congrats to one of the members of our YouTube chat tonight, and that is Dave Prime, who is celebrating 19 months of sobriety. Congrats to you.
Yes,
that's fucking awesome. Whether you drink, whether you don't drink, like, we got to celebrate people's successes. That's fucking awesome. Congrats, man.
Also, Dave is trying to get his own little podcast numbers up and that. So if anybody wants to go check it out, hit up Dave for the info on it.
Yeah, there you go. You put the link in our chat, Dave. Like, do a shameless plug, please.
Yeah.
Hawk, you got one?
Actually, yes, I do have a.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I guess, because I'm just going to say it. The Big Goodbye, the first appearance of Dixon Hill in TNG.
Okay, we might have to throw down because
I love
the Big Goodbye.
For me, it's just kind of like, it was like, okay, they had a piece of the action in that where they get to play silly dress up in that. And it's like, how can we incorporate that into TNG? And that it followed along those lines where it was kind of borrowing plot elements, from the original series and that, Naked Now, that kind of thing. Never really cared for the episode, although it did have Lawrence Tierney in it. So, props for that. But overall, not the best episode. It's a hot take, I know, but
it is because we're gonna kick you off the podcast now.
That is like, I love the Big Goodbye. I think it's probably one of the TNG episodes I've seen the most.
Really?
Yeah.
I have Beverly dressed in her outfit from that episode.
Oh,
like an action figure.
Oh,
wow.
Kung's got one here that I want to read because I kind of agree with it.
Okay.
I like it. Time for me to get booed. I've never understood the massive love for Darmok. It's good, but not like all-time top 10 Trek I often see it on.
Oh, yeah.
I kind of agree.
Really?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
I love that episode so much.
Yeah,
the actor who played him in that, he has those words written on his gravestone.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, when the walls fell, Shaka, when the walls fell. Yeah,
that's actually pretty cool though. But yeah, it's fine. And Dave goes, it's the first episode we see Picard's smoking jacket, to which also that thing never made a damn bit of sense. I hate that smoking jacket so much. I can't stand it.
Come on, like we had Kirk and his, green thingy.
But that's hot. And then Anson Mount makes it look even better. But like, there's a difference between having like an off-duty tunic and an off-duty smoking jacket. I don't know. I never got it.
Hey, as a Canadian, I can appreciate the need to, when it's drafty out, to have an extra layer.
Oh man. Okay. You want to talk about getting booed off the podcast?
Oh.
Here we go. I think I might lose my hosting gig after this one.
Oh.
I feel, honest to God, that I've been Stockholm syndrome in a little bit into thinking that The Inner Light is an absolute masterpiece. And it's not. It's not. The music for it is fantastic. I think people love The Inner Light mainly because the music does something to them, but like, it's fine.
It is better than fine. Come on.
I actually can understand that. I think that The Inner Light would have been much better if they didn't have any of the scenes on the bridge, because it's like, he's fine the entire time.
Thank you. That takes me out of it. It's so my other choice for tonight was going to be another episode where like you get taken out of it because of like switching scenes, and that's Memento Mori from season 1 of Strange New Worlds. It's such like, I know a lot of people put that in like big, like that's like one of the best episodes of Strange New Worlds. And I know Eric loves it too, but that episode takes such a like downgrade for me because they go on that weird shuttle mission and do the mind meld with La'an and Spock. And it's just like, but like, it just takes you out of the cool submarine movie. Like, and it's like the same thing with Inner Light. It's like, oh, you're on the bridge and then you're the guy. And yeah.
Oh, but I mean, we already know he's not there really in that.
You never know. It's just like you never actually know if Deep Space Nine and Star Trek ever happened after the Benny episode, which I always forget the name of a horrible person.
Far Beyond the
Far
Stars.
Beyond the
Far
Stars.
Beyond the Stars.
Because there's not a single. I believe in Far Beyond the Stars. There's not a single scene on Deep Space Nine, if I'm not mistaken. I might be mistaken about
No,
that.
you are absolutely mistaken.
I have to go back and it's been a bit, but oh man, 5+ going on 6 years of doing this show. This might be one of my favorite Stranger Loops we've done. This was good.
This is an interesting one. Yeah, we could just do this the entire.
Oh wait, I'm not alone. I've been preempted by someone else, but I've always thought the Inner Light was seriously overrated. Tara, thank you, Tara. I have a supporter.
Who are you people?
Go. Let's go. The music's fantastic. Like
Yes,
you
of course.
can't argue with that, but it's fine. It's fine. Any others we want to go, or should we get into this?
Let's get into this.
Let's get into it. We are going to talk about our under the radar favorite episodes for our final show here of the year. I put your episodes into a random generator, and Hawk, I guess it's good to just get the nightmare fuel the fuck out of the way. That's right. Why did you choose Schisms?
Okay, so I mean, Schisms. I mean, let's admit it. Like season 6, 7, and that there was a lot of episodes
6,
that we just.
7. Sorry,
Yeah. That's all right.
I promise I won't do that ever again.
There's a lot of forgettable episodes in those 2 seasons and that, but like nobody ever forgets their first time watching Schisms. This episode came out October 10th, 1993. Now, at this point, The X-Files was maybe 5 episodes deep into season 1, little small cult following, obviously that would expand, but very early on. It's the whole thing about alien abductions. It was huge in the culture back then. With the crop circles, they made big news and that. Most were, debunked as hoaxes and that. But then with that dark underbelly in that of, the alien abduction lore was like, the similar stories people were coming up with and that, it's like, they losing time, cold rooms and that, thinking that they've been experimented on, it was a phenomena.
Oh, it absolutely was. There's no doubt about it.
Did you ever see? I don't remember what year it was released in that. Led Zeppelin did this box set, that incorporated the crop circles and that. Never forgot.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. You see the image of the crop circles and that, and then a shadow of a Zeppelin and that. It was a mystery. It was a big mystery, especially in North America and that. And who doesn't love mysteries? But the fact that Schisms tapped into that culture and that for an episode of Star Trek, I thought was just genius. How do you do an alien abduction story in a sci-fi series and that deals with aliens constantly? And they found a clever way to do it. And the way the episode was directed, written, brilliant. My only gripes with it were around like certain, how should we say, costume effects and that, because like Riker coming out with the disheveled hair.
Oh, but I thought that was such like a good way to start the episode because the physicality of it like just shows how not okay it is. And Riker, like he puts up a front all the time, like of like being the XO and this like authority guy and playing it cool. And Geordi and Data both look at him and know something's up because of the hair. Right?
Oh yeah, yeah. It's an easy visual cue, and I just always found it funny. It's like I'm so tired, I just can't smooth my hair out.
Honestly, my biggest issue was always that this episode deals a lot with sleeping, and I have a personal vendetta against the beds in all of Star Trek because they look so goddamn uncomfortable.
Really? I don't know.
Yes.
I figured like the posturepedic stuff, like by that point in the future, and that is like so perfect. It must be sleeping on a little cloud.
I mean, they also most of them like hardly have any bedding on them, and that is like an anathema to me. They have like a little shock blanket, and that's basically it.
Or like a weird satin blanket that goes across.
Sorry, that's my contribution.
But I love the way it unfolds. The group getting together and that, and sharing similar stories and that, and recreating like their experiences in the holodeck, which has always been a creepy scene. The fact that it's a species coming from a microverse and that in subspace, which I didn't really understand a lot at the time, and that it kind of came to me later on in that, especially if you're, after seeing like the Ant-Man series and realizing, how small, like, like how big small dimensions can be, depending on like size and scale, and the story itself, that it was possibly like some sort of explorer race that was trying to create a pocket universe in ours and that, and experimenting on people and that to try and, acclimate to it and that, or at least be able to recreate conditions for themselves. And that meant like, like they were dead intent in coming over. Um, yeah. I do love the end line in that when Riker, it's like, maybe they are explorers and that. And Riker, points out like, it's, one of the one ensign's dead and that we barely made it out alive, and then like, when they do the medical, analysis and trying to get to the mystery and that, finding out that they severed his arm and reattached it. Just mind-blowing stuff. A fantastic episode. I doubt anybody ever forgets their first time watching it.
It is a really good episode. I want to talk about Dave's point that he put in when you guys had your watch along the other night, talking with you about wondering if Frakes intentionally was sleep deprived while shooting this, because he really like
seems.
Yeah, right. Like Frakes, I always feel like I don't want to call him a method acting because I have strong opinions on method acting. But like, he goes deep into like, like prepping for a role. And I do wonder, because he looked tired as hell. It takes, listen, like you can make yourself look tired, but when you look tired and actually are tired, like I've looked how he's looked when I haven't gotten enough sleep. And he really looked like he just decided not to sleep for like 24, 48 hours.
Yeah. There's a difference between that, because method acting, as far as like I'm concerned, is when like, some idiot is like, being a character in character on set all the time.
Right. Right.
It's an excuse for being an asshole.
Yep. Exactly. Whereas like methods to try and kind of capture that, that's just work. That's just what actors have to do. And it's like, you want to look tired, don't go to sleep for like 48 hours before going on set, or, if you're Christian Bale and that doing The Machinist, oof. I wouldn't recommend doing that.
Well, that makes you, sick.
Yes,
yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
This episode is like super creepy. I remember a couple years back, Giraffe and I had this in when we watched an episode a day. This was, I think, like the episode that everybody was like, oh my God, this one is so freaky. And it's freaky in a way that no other Star Trek is, because they do not really give you any explanation for what happens. It still remains a mystery to this day.
Yep.
And I would actually be incredibly disappointed if they revisited it and it's like, oh, here's the explanation for that. I don't want that. I want this to stay its own little thing. I do have to say there's one thing I noticed, because I watched all 3 of our episodes, like one after the other. All of them have this interesting thing where it feels to me like they just ran out of episode. Where it's like, oh yeah, it is the 40-minute mark. So we're just going to have this episode end. That happens almost with all of them, where there's this very quick ending put on the episode, because they've been building things up, and that happens in this one, where they were building up this mystery, but then it kind of just went, okay, now we're gonna go now.
Oh yeah, and maybe we're not done with them, and then like we don't see them again.
Yeah. I would agree with you on that, because to be honest, like I'm watching in that, you almost don't notice the time in that, floating by in that. And by the time it gets to Riker in his room waiting for to be abducted, I was like, oh my God, there's like only 5 minutes left in this. Yes, it does. Like I guess it compounds the mystery in that through the plot a bit like that, so that when you're left with basically the last section of it, it tries to really maintain that mystery in that we don't know what they're saying. We get kind of we get an indicator of what they look like. We do see their faces and that, but even still, it's like the set is dark and that the lensing for it is a little warped, almost like a fisheye when Riker initially wakes up.
And do we see their faces or do we see masks? Because
I don't know.
I think it was masks.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, because also the environment that the crew is put in is specifically made to be our universe compatible, and they are still trying to figure out how to be able to come into our universe. So I think it was some sort of mask. Of course, that doesn't explain why they weren't able to come into our universe if they have like protective gear, but it has to be something like that.
That's a really good point. They're like spacesuits for them, and that they probably have limited supplies of what they consider oxygen. So they're able to work for short periods of time there.
Yeah. The Riker at the end of this episode, when he is talking about like how dangerous these people are, I had to laugh for a good while afterwards because he's like, it's the whole, they're explorers, they're dangerous. It felt to me, it's like, Riker, you've forgotten all of the lessons about colonialism if you think that people who are explorers aren't going to hurt the people that they're exploring.
Right. It's a 90s take.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah.
Hawk, you already kind of briefly mentioned it, but it was the one thing I wanted to ask you about tonight regarding this episode, and that is the scene behind you, that holodeck scene that you mentioned where they slowly recreate what happened to them. This is, I think, like more than seeing Riker on the table when they're baiting them or just knowing what happened to him, it's the sudden realization, not even sudden realization, it's that like growing to that moment where they all realize that they were in the same place being tortured by the same people. In the holodeck is not an inviting room when there's nothing in it. So you have this dark room and slowly what is actually like this warm, inviting wooden table slowly getting turned in to this monstrosity of a torture device. Like how well put together was this scene?
Like it unfolded so well. I mean, like, I think Gabe and I were talking about the table, that, it's like, it was such a kind of a weird leap that you go from like a wood table like that into like, basically like, almost something very clinical and autopsy like, right? But other than that, I mean, the way it unfolded was great. It's like, yes, it's not the most inviting room to walk into when it's just, black and, with yellow lines and that, but like they still made it creepier in that when they had the lights lower on it. It's all the way, and it's all based on very ephemeral memories, right? It's again mirroring like the whole experience that of abductees and their stories, and that most of their stories came out through hypnosis. Just fragmented memories and that, but like enough details coalescing together that they were able to get like a small picture of it. And that's why I think the brilliance of it, of that is, and when the lights lower, and then when they realize that there's no sound, that there was sound, remember sound, and then describing it, going from whispers to clicking, and then like, no, it's louder, more of them, and then like the sudden realization on all their faces, we've all been in this room.
Yeah, it was really interesting for them to have like a fairly large number of people in an interest, because there's somebody in there who I don't know if we really saw before.
No, they're like a civilian.
Yeah. And it just, they all just kind of build on each other because they all have these small fragments of it. And there is part of me who's rationally thinking it's like, oh, well, they're just kind of building on top of one another, which is something that can happen when you're having a delusion that, you'll kind of feed into one another. But you can see how clearly they're coalescing there. And there's so much tension placed in the scene. Like when Geordi is trying to get the light right. And he's like, no, it's brighter. It's brighter. It's brighter. Yeah. And they keep on putting these beats in it. The same thing happened with the sound. And they're really using all of the different senses. So with the lighting gets harsher and harsher. And the clicking noise just gets more and more disturbing, because when it first starts, you're not sure what it is. But then when you kind of realize at the end, oh, this is a excited language. They are, speaking animatedly, and must be some sort of insectoid race with all of this clicking. So
right.
Oh yeah, go ahead, Hog.
I'm trying to. I had a point. I was trying to think of that. I kind of brain farted. So you go ahead, please.
No, I was gonna say is lot that happens in this episode, but is there anything else that we want to touch on it that we may have missed before we keep going?
I do remember. Yes, the one point I wanted to make with the MC is absolutely right. The coalescing of the memory fragments, that was a big issue in that, like with the alien abductee stories and that, like people doubted it because the events sounded so similar in that people thought, it's like they were just kind of drafting on each other. So the way it was like they had to act as a group in that to try and kind of bring these like disparate memories into focus, and that everybody had their part to play in it. Like Geordi remembering the light, of all things, remembering the light, Worf, remembering the surgical instrument, because of course he would, that'd be the one thing he'd be focused on.
Yeah.
Mott and the hairdressers, man. Oh,
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, and shout out to an ode to Spot.
And
Yes,
the poetry.
that was the highlight.
Oh man, I love John Luke's face. You know what's great about this episode is that it's a great episode of TNG that barely has Jean Luc. It's like it gives you so much focus on Geordi and on Riker, and listen, talk about so much how like Gates McFadden really got screwed over on the show quite a bit, and you get a good amount of Bev in this episode. Like
I think in both episodes you guys picked are really good Bev episodes.
Yep. Good Troy episode too, because naturally she's the one. As ship counselor, she's the one trying to focus them. So that is my underrated pick.
It's a great pick. It's a great pick.
Yeah.
Well done, Hawk. Do me a favor, Hawk. Let's talk about some of our collectives under the radar episodes. Why don't you take our first mailbag here from Rob G?
Sure. Rob G wrote, Giraffe will probably hate me for this one, but I think the chase is a fun romp with a compelling story. Science be damned. It's great to see Picard so energized, and I always love any chance to see different species interacting.
I like the chase too. So Giraffe could yell at me. She could yell at everybody. It's okay.
I mean, honestly, science be damned might well be a motto in the writer's room of Star Trek. Like,
Facts.
It is the softest of softest science.
True. Very true. I don't mind the chase at all. The science is definitely wonky, but it's a fun episode. I really like the fact that that episode gets started because like Jean Luc feels like he let his mentor down. It's like it's a great story. I like it. I like the chase. So I'm with you, Rob. MC, why don't you take the second one from Emily Ree?
Emily rewrote Voyager Season 1, Episode 2, Parallax. It's very early days on Voyager, and they're still finding their groove. But what I remember loving is Janeway showing off the nerdy science officer side of her together with Taurus. It was refreshing to see two women in those roles. It was nice to see them bond while being nerdy science/engineering officers. I just wish we'd had more scenes with that, like that, with them going forward.
This is the second episode of Voyager, I believe. It's great. It's a great episode, and you do get those great moments between Janeway and B'Elanna, because this is like Chakotay wants B'Elanna to be chief engineer, and Janeway's like, I'm not having a Maquis chief engineer. Like, are you kidding me? And then realizes throughout the episode how much value B'Elanna gives to the ship. It's a great episode.
Yeah, this is like one of the last episodes where they actually cared about the Maquis shit.
Yeah, it's true. It's like 2 episodes in and they kind of just, yeah.
And she was the perfect engineer for Voyager in Voyager's perfect in particular situation in that, because she's basically a guerrilla engineer. They've been in tight spots. She knows how to do emergency work.
Yeah. Yep. I really like that episode. It's interesting to have like a second episode of a show like go hard like that too. It's a pretty like, oh shit, like things could go really bad really quick for Voyager, and we're in episode 2. So it's a good one.
Yeah. No, I believe according to the schedule, you're up on the chopping block.
I am.
So we are going to go ahead and introduce your favorite underrated episode, Arsenal of Freedom.
Yeah. Arsenal of Freedom. Man, I've talked about this episode on the pod before. I love this episode for so many different reasons. It's a great Riker episode. You get some backstory about Riker. And it's one of the first times that you learn that Riker has already been offered a command. And the first one that we learned that he turns down. It is a great Geordi episode. It is one of the few great Geordi episodes. Geordi doesn't get a lot of great episodes in TNG and gets made to look like a bit of a weirdo throughout the series. And it's a great episode for Geordi. He gets to take command. He gets to do a saucer step. Like, saucer step was used so much in season 1, but this is like one of the really cool uses of it. And I thought it was really good. And then, like, this episode does so many good things, like, to get to know this crew. It's near the tail end of the season, but it gives like almost everyone a chance to sign. We were mentioning earlier how this is a good Bev episode too. It starts to really establish that relationship between Jean-Luc and Beverly. And it's also just a fun sci-fi episode. Like, how many times in Star Trek do we get a civilization destroyed itself? And this is, we learned that because they built this awesome piece of technology for war, and they were selling it to the highest bidder and ended up destroying them because it kept adapting, kind of like the Borg. It was a bit of a prelude to the Borg too. It kept adapting against what they were trying to do to it. The Echo Papa.
Echo Papa, because I was watching today. It's like, that was such a neat name.
It was
Echo
a great
Papa
name.
627, I think.
And listen, for the 1980s, it was a cool design for a bad guy, bad technology. Like the almost like NFL football head with like the curving like bit for the laser and like the visor. I loved it. And the fact that like that's what it looked like on the ground, and what it looked like, it was like a module, not a module design, like a singular design, both for like land, sea, and air, pretty much. It was just really cool.
I mean, it foreshadowed a lot of stuff.
It did.
Right?
It does.
Like independent, like AI and independent, like operating systems, 3D printing. It's also harkens back. I don't know if it was an influence or not, but there was this old Philip K. Dick story called Autofac, which it was a short story. I loved it. Always loved it. Basically about like how one factory had basically become independent and self-aware, and just like it's closed itself off from humanity and just kept pumping out product after product after product on its own. People trying to stop it because it was just basically using up all the everything in the environment to keep pumping out products nobody needed anymore. I always got some like big and like the same intuition from this, like it's and the fact that it wiped out their own society. It was always so chilling.
Yeah.
I'd say also big shout out to Vincent Schiavelli for this episode, playing the peddler. He was one of those actors that was always like turning up in like the weirdest places, but was always like very impactful when he was there. And I really did feel that in this episode, where he's like he's like a used car salesman.
Yeah, that's exactly what he is.
But also like really, really kind of terrifying at the same time.
Gleefully showing it off.
Yeah, right. Because like there's at one point where Jean-Luc's like, okay, shut it off. And he goes, well, why would you want to do that? You haven't even seen the best part yet, right? Meanwhile, it's like literally like almost murdering everyone above and below. It's yeah. You talked about foreshadowing, Hawk. That's another thing that's great about this episode. Like, you don't realize it if you watch this in syndication for the very first time back in the 80s, but like, we get a few other things. Obviously Tasha's on the ground for this one, and you see Worf at the tactical station, right? Like I don't think for the first time, but this is like a bit of that foreshadowing that this is going to be his position, right? You have Geordi in that adversarial relationship with the chief engineer at the time, and that's going to be Geordi's job, next season. All these things kind of like it you don't realize that it's a setup episode, but it actually really is also like a big setup episode. Dave mentions in the chat that Bev also gets to show off her frontier medicine a bit too. Like she's not, like she didn't just learn everything that she learned from Starfleet Medical. Her mother, did stuff on colonies, and she learned a lot of that from her. And it's such a good episode. Like I do think it gets just like, I feel like no one remembers this episode until I'm like, hey, Arsenal of Freedom here.
I honestly, I had that Gandalf moment of, I have no memory of this place.
But it's true. No, I mean, it absolutely is.
Yep.
Yeah, both your episodes are really good ensemble pieces. There's, I would say, only like a couple of characters missing from both of them. I think they did kind of find a pretty good balance for everybody. And yeah, I like Jordy being able to take the lead. I do think that seeing Logan in this episode made it very clear why Jordy gets the promotion, because Logan was an asshole.
Not only is Logan an asshole, but do you remember how many chief engineers Enterprise goes through in season 1? It's a revolving door. It's bad.
It was a question on Trek Master Quiz once, because there's that many of them. It was the 7 of 9. So
Damn. It's something I didn't even really think about.
I think my favorite moment from this episode is when Logan's on the bridge too. When no, Dave's right. We'd never see Logan again. Every time a chief engineer does something to fuck up the Enterprise in season 1, they're gone. You never ever see them again. And yet there's that moment where Logan comes onto the bridge, and Geordi's like, you know what, Logan, you are gonna take command of the saucer section. And he's like, you motherfucker. It's such a boss moment for Geordi, because he's like getting his comeuppance a little bit, because this guy thinks he's better than him and he's not. And Geordi, like, I think without Geordi, maybe the Enterprise gets destroyed in this episode, right?
It's so good. Like, you know, it's like, yes, okay, you're going to take command of the lifeboat. And
Yeah.
we're going to go back and, like, you know, risk our asses because I know we can get them out. Yeah. Geordi is confident, even if, you know, like, you know, even if Troy senses the doubt, he's still going to try. I love this as a character moment for him. The way he handled the bridge crew and that, you know, he knows like that the positions that they're in, but he reminds them of that. You've been trained, you've been tested, you deserve to be in those chairs. Love that.
Yeah. Of course, I had the wonderful ADHD moment of needing to pause the episode for like 5 minutes because I could not figure out who played Logan, and it was going to drive me nuts.
I've seen that character actor in a million things.
I ended up figuring it out. He's in the very first episode of Angel. He is the first vampire he fights. And Angel says, "Can you fly?" and pushes him out a window.
Oh, that's so good. Yeah, nice. I like that. I like that bit with Geordi too. Excuse me. I like that bit with Geordi too, when he's like being reassuring after Troy's like, hey, they need you right now. They don't know if they're going to get out of this situation. They need you to be that captain. Like, you know, if Jean-Luc was here and who's not right now, this is your ship right now. And to have him come back with that confidence is huge. And I love the end where he's like, Mr. LaForge, I believe I left this ship in one piece. And he's like, put it back together. It
was perfect.
Thank you.
Also, I love an episode you can walk away and learn something from. You know, I'm being 12 the first time watching this. That was the first time I realized that people with head traumas need to keep them awake.
Yes. This is like good concussion protocol.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Anyway, that's Arsenal of Freedom. I love this episode. I always go back to this episode too when I talk about like Under the Radar, because this is one of the first episodes I remember watching Star Trek. Like as like, I think I saw this episode live, like being put in front of the, not live because it's syndication, but like whenever it aired, I have a distinct memory of sitting in front of the television as baby Julian watching this episode. So yeah.
Nice.
Yep. And since this is mine, I'll take the third mailbag here, which I instantly regret. But okay. So for those that don't know, one of our amazing Bad Admirals, Dana, she lost a bet earlier this year at Trek Long Island. And the wager of that was that she would be banned from getting to talk about Tuvix on our server from now on. I lifted that ban for the day today because congratulations, Dana, one of our amazing Bad Admirals who got a big promotion at work today. She became a permanent employee. So whether I am a game master or the admin of our Discord server, just remember, I am a fair GM and I am a fair admin. And when people have successes, I celebrate them. So I lifted Dana's Tuvix ban for 24 hours, which I immediately have been regretting. Mainly because of this goddamn mailbag I'm about to read. But here we go. From Dana, it is the most wonderful time of the year because a 24-hour lift on my Tuvix ban allows me to remind people of how glorious, yet problematic, the Tuvix episode of Voyager is in the great realm of underrated episodes. We all hate Tuvix. He was a butthead to Cass and emotionally manipulative, but he also got us to think bigger. To truly answer the question, do the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few? People like to ignore this episode because they hate the character, but the amount of debates I've had on the value of life and what makes a person human has impacted the... I had the page ready to turn and then it slipped from my thumb and now I'm very embarrassed. Make a person human has impacted the way I think as a human development and family studies major. I'll never not brag about this episode unless bound by a bet because friendship is more powerful than Tuvix. I just hope one day someone out there can appreciate how underrated Tuvix is and how much he has done for us in truly symbolizing Gene's vision. That is actually a very well put together mailbag, Dana. Very well said.
I have to say, oh, go ahead.
Still the best Star Trek meme ever. Janeway looking at Tuvix and that, like, yo, you're gone.
I have to tell you, I like the episode Tuvix, and I like Tuvix as a character. And like, I'm not going to comment on the whole is Janeway right or wrong. We have an entire episode about that.
Sure do.
Mm-hmm.
But also, Tuvix wasn't wrong to want to live.
No.
I would
it's
concede
very
that
heartbreaking.
point. It is heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Hawk, I think we're back to you. Why don't you take Mars's under the radar episode, which is a great episode.
Absolutely. From Mars in the Cards from Deep Space Nine. Season 5, episode 25 is my favorite under the radar episode. Jake wants to get his dad the 1951 Willie Mays rookie baseball card to cheer him up, but has no Latinum, so has to borrow from Nog. Hilarity ensues. They lose at the auction and have to go on a crazy romp, wheeling and dealing across not just the station, but throughout the sector. Many wonderful comedic acts of misunderstanding and circumstance occur, even between the Dominion and Jake and Nog. A nice, cozy, wholesome episode where everyone is involved. I don't really remember it too much in that. I do remember the Willie Mays baseball card in that. I just don't remember the episode that well.
I love this episode so much. At one point, if I'm not mistaken, Cisco loses his desk for a hot minute because they're trying to get this.
Is it that episode?
No,
is that the self-sealing stem bolts episode?
The self-sealing stem bolts out.
No, actually, yes, there are self-sealing stem bolts in that episode, but it's the episode with it's Treachery, Faith, and the Great River.
That
right. You're thinking of, which are actually both in the cards and that one are very similar. The only thing is that one also has a big plot with Odo and Wei Yun. But both of these episodes are really great.
I love this episode too because I love the fact that it ends on a fucking Dominion ship, right? Like that's how far this con and this heist to get this damn baseball card goes. And it's such a stupid episode in the best possible way, right? It's one of those great DS9 like comedic dumb romps. It's fantastic.
Honestly, if I hadn't picked the episode that I did, I probably would have picked this one. But then I also think that this one is a little better thought of than the episode that I picked. This one is just so wholesome. And if you actually look at it in the grand scheme of Deep Space Nine, this is season 5, episode 25. This is right before the Dominion War arc started. This is the last breather episode. And everybody ends up happy in this. You know, Worf's listening to opera and Julian has his bear. It is the last moment of normalcy basically anybody on this show ever has. So it is sweet and wholesome. I love Jake and Nog together. This is one of the episodes that I will always put on if I need to feel good. And I find it really strange that like Deep Space Nine, which is known as like the dark Star Trek series, or at least it was back in the 90s, has, I think, the most wholesome episodes.
Oh yeah.
I don't think it's close. I think that DS9 does have the most, it has the darkest episodes and the most wholesome episodes.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's close for any other series. Yeah.
Yeah.
We are going to stay on good old Deep Space Nine, that beautiful, beautiful space station of ours, my favorite Star Trek. And MC, last but certainly not least, tonight, Explorers is a great episode of DS9 for a variety of different reasons. Why'd you pick this one?
I mean, it's almost kind of in the same vein as In the Cards, like these wholesome episodes of Star Trek. And I think Explorers even more than In the Cards. It was the episode that spawned this entire episode of the podcast, because it is one of those episodes that no one ever thinks of. It's not that people think it's bad. It's just, I actually looked at several lists of, we're going to rank every single episode of Deep Space Nine. It is smack in the middle. So people don't dislike it, but people don't particularly like it. I think people don't really think of it because nothing happens in this episode. It is a simple story of a father and a son going on an adventure together. And it's not even a high stakes adventure. It's an experiment. And I love seeing them bonding together. We don't get a whole lot of episodes where that's the only thing that happens in it, where this actually might be the only one where, well, other than The Visitor, and I feel like this and The Visitor are almost like twin episodes to each other.
Yeah.
Just, this is like the light to its shadow. And I love them both so much. So this episode is entirely, with the exception of the little subplot with Julian, it's about this father-son bond. And I identify with Jake so much. And this whole, I want to go on with my life as a writer, and I don't know if I'm ready to like move away. I do entirely disagree with Cisco on this point of how can you write if you haven't experienced things. I really hate that whole trope. No, you can write a lot of stuff that you don't experience. That's, if people had to experience everything they wrote about, there would be some very disturbing people out there. Well, I mean, I know there are very disturbing people out there, but there are some great books that are written.
Not all
by
of them can string a
perfectly nice
sentence
people.
together, though.
Yeah. And we get the great Bashir and O'Brien friendship when they're just drunk singing Jerusalem.
We should go to Quarks and sing for everyone. No, Julian, I think we should switch to Synthahol.
And I love that this is one of the few episodes we see Cisco being an engineering nerd, because I think people forget that Cisco was not on the command track. He was an engineer who got promoted up because he was so good at his job. That's why I think that Cisco and Shaw would get along really well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, we actually get to see him get really excited about that. And that scene with him and Jadzia, where they're talking about him getting passionate about this project and talking about him as a father. These are just small things that we don't usually get to take time for in Star Trek. And we certainly don't get to have now in these 10 episode seasons. And I love them. These episode is a breather. It's a character moment. And I like, this has no bad guy in it. The closest thing to a bad guy in it is Dukat trying to suppress information.
Yes.
And he's still kind of a good guy in that episode, right? Like, I kind of love Dukat in this episode.
Yeah.
Because like, I think like he's, even though he's a dick and we know he's the bad guy of the series, but I think he's also like kind of rooting for Benjamin, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I get why this flies under people's radar on that, because yes, it is a wholesome episode. Not, it kind of doesn't really advance any of the overarching storylines, and that it's almost about downtime, which is why I was a little confused about Julian Bashir's like storyline in this. I didn't know exactly how it kind of related to it until the end, but it gives you that whole other side of Cisco and that how different he is as a not just a commander or a captain of the Starfleet officer, because he prioritizes family a lot more than like any other Starfleet officer does. And this is a very pivotal moment in their relationship too, because I think this is the first time that Jake really kind of announces that, like, I want to be a writer.
Yeah. It's kind of like the final nail in the coffin that Jake's probably not going to go to Starfleet.
Yeah.
Also, the first mention of Cassidy Yates.
Yes.
Yes.
It's the guy that got this freighter pilot you might like. Yeah.
Yep.
I'm gonna be the weird one here. Julian early, we know that early Julian in DS9 was a bit of a creep, but I like that Jadzia sets him up on this like quest to find this officer on the Lexington, and then it just goes completely not the way that Julian expected. But what I love about this is, for once, for Julian, it started out about sex, but it ends about science. And I like that. I like, instead of being creepy, Julian be like, well, if you want to know more, why don't we do it over dinner? And no, he's like, oh, if you'd like to know more, I have my files at sickbay. Why don't you come to sickbay? We can go over them. And it's like, boss move, Julian. Like, I like that.
And to be fair to Julian, like the whole thing with Lita at the beginning, which, first of all, shout out to the first appearance of Lita in the
so
series.
Many firsts in this episode. First goatee too.
Yeah, but Lita's the one coming after him. Like, I mean, yes, he's responding to it, but like Lita knows what she wants. And I always forget that they were together, even though they're together for like 2 years. They're together for a long time, but Lita knows what she wants and she's going to get it. And it's like, yeah, doctor, I'm not feeling too well. This is the only time it's cool that Julian's dating a patient.
Yeah. I know it's a weird moment. Like I for some reason, the weird moments of this episode are like my favorite moments from it. It's the end title sequence for this, when they're on the Solar Sailor and they've made it to Cardassian space, because they found the warp eddy, right? And the Cardassians are there to meet them. And yeah, it's sus. Oh yeah, we found the wreckage. It's like, of course you did. But again, it's one of the few times we see the fact that there is this tumultuous, brief alliance between the Cardassian Union and the Federation. And this is a celebration at the end. The fireworks and stuff, like, they could have just been like, congrats. But no, I don't think that they were doing this to mock them. Like, this was them really like a brief moment where you see that the Cardassians do care about science and exploration. And the fireworks, I think, are symbolic of that. And I really love that moment.
I mean, if you think about it, they had the fireworks ready. They knew it, that they had gotten there. It's like, oh, well, I guess we got to celebrate them. Because, I mean, obviously they had found that site before and they were suppressing that information because they didn't want it known that the Bajorans had beaten them to space travel. But when Sisko was able to do it, Dukat just kind of shrugged and it's like, well, I guess you got us.
Yeah. No, I love that moment so much.
Yeah, it's easy to forget, like, like the Cardassians, once, we learned this back in the two-parter TNG, Chain of Command. Talking to the Cardassian commander, their society loved art, poetry, and that. They were, they loved all those pursuits and that, until tragedies came about, and it's like the society as a whole decided to focus on war and that. So yes, and yes, they were definitely suppressing that information because they just happened to, coincide with finding the wreckage of the first Bajoran ship that made it across the stars to Cardassian space. It's like they had chosen to acknowledge it and not just that, celebrate it, because with Gul Dukat, yeah, it was, there was always antipathy there and that, but I think he genuinely was celebrating it at that point, that they, Sisko did this and that, because Sisko, he was always fascinated by him, right? Dukat always, saw him as not just another enemy.
It was like, I don't know if I've ever really talked about this on the show. I think for Ducat, I don't think that it's reciprocated by Benjamin, but I think for Ducat, at some point, not for all 7 seasons, but at some point, he considered it an adversarial friendship.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
I don't think that that was reciprocated by Benjamin. Like the feeling was not mutual. But I think to Ducat,
I mean,
yeah, go ahead.
Well, it's kind of the same thing like Ducat with Kira, where Kira just straight up hates him.
Yeah.
But Ducat's like, we have this adversarial relationship, but there's this heat between us.
Yeah.
It's the exact same thing with Cisco, except without like the sexual tension.
Yeah.
But I mean, unless there is.
Unless there is.
No,
Unless there is.
Also with Cisco and that as being the emissary for the Bajoran people and that, friendship for him with Ducat is always out of the books and that, because like his first, not just his family or Starfleet and that, but the Bajoran people are a big concern of his, and where's I going with this? I don't think there could ever be that whole friendly adversary thing with Ducat and that because of that history, which, Benjamin is, now officially a part of. I mean, like he's doing this whole experiment and that, pretty much on behalf of the Jordan people and that, even though he's taking the initiative on his own and doing everything in that, it's another like advocacy that he promotes for them.
Yeah.
In his own way. Yeah. And also the inclusion of that song, Jerusalem, was a little weird.
Yeah. But it's such a fun moment.
Yeah. I always think it's about, like, if I'm not mistaken, the song is about the Balfour document, the declaration and that from 1917 and that regarding Jerusalem. So in connection with the Bajoran people, it's it's a weird nod, right?
Yeah, that's a good point. Yep.
I feel like, and don't quote me on this, but I believe that it's possible that Colmini and Siddig El Fatal suggested the song, that they wanted to do something else. I might be completely making that up, but it sounds like something that is true.
Fair.
And I spend a lot of time on Memory Alpha.
You do. So. You have to. Because of Trek Masters. Emcee, Hawk, anything else about Explorers?
Cisco out archaeology's Picard in this one, if that makes any sense, because it's not just a pleasure cruise and that, it's like basically an archaeological experiment that he is doing in that, the specifics of the ship, the way he makes it, instead of just fabricating it and that, he needs like, wood cutting tools and blowtorches.
Yeah.
He goes all out for this, and like really it is an archaeological expedition he's going on.
Yeah. Nice. Cool. Emcee, we're gonna finish off the night with a few more mailbags here. Again, we got some great submissions. Can you take NY Rowlights here, please?
Sure. NY Rowlight wrote, I'm pretty sure I've watched The Royale more than top tier TNG episodes like The Inner Light, The Best of Both Worlds, and Yesterday's Enterprise. It's just so bad. It's good. I even laugh when they mention it was a dark and stormy night. I'd let Data roll my dice anytime he wants.
The dice roll is
I love The Royale.
I love The Royale.
I love it.
Yeah. Love the dark undertones in the story and that, like those poor guys that died in there.
Yeah.
Couldn't figure out how to get out.
I hear so many people say that it's so bad, it's good. But for me, I'm like, no, The Royale is just good.
So good, it's good. It's a good episode. Yeah. Data, so cool, so suave, goes Dave. It's very true.
It's one of the first. It's one of the first Star Trek episodes I remember watching, so it's very close to my heart.
Oh, I love that. I'll take the next one. The next Under the Radar from our collective from Sedano 317. For me, it's Voyager 614 Memorial. My uncle served with the Marines in World War II in Korea. He never spoke about his time in uniform, but this episode gave me a brief glimpse in how things might have gone for him. And I got to look this one up real quick because I think I know which one it is, but I don't want to speak out of turn here. I think I do know. Oh, yes. This is a good episode. This is the one where they get implanted with the memories, right?
Yeah.
Yes. And then, okay, the great thing about this episode is the ending, where they decide not to put up they decide to put up a warning buoy, but like not destroy the thing. I think it's like, you should experience this, but just so you know, this is here. But like, they don't turn people off from doing it because they think it's something that like is necessary.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great episode.
It's a heavy episode.
It's a really heavy
great.
episode. Yeah. No.
I got to rewatch this one. I think I remember it.
Yeah. This is got Emcee, the episode that we were talking about, the DS9 episode where they find their ancestors, which I told you, I was like, I don't remember this episode. And then I watched it.
The Children of Time.
Yes. And then of course I remembered it. Hawk, take us home. This is fitting because you guys did the watch along together. Take us home with our final under the radar collective choice here from Dave Prime, please.
Oh, let me refresh the doc. I don't think I got this one. Hold on.
Boo, Hawk.
Got
it. Sorry, Dave. So mailbag for 7 from Dave Prime. After the rewatch last night, Schisms is greatly underrated. Data's poetry and discussion with Geordi afterwards. The people in charge of making Riker's hair so unkempt, making it truly look like he was sleep deprived. But how the computer was coming up with ideas, how a table looked like, that did add a tad bit of levity to an otherwise spooky episode. Side note, an otherwise spooky alien species that has nefarious intentions. We never saw nor heard about them again, like those creepy things wishing peaceful coexistence from the first season episode Conspiracy. Yes, it does really harken back to Conspiracy.
Conspiracy's butt bugs, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It is.
Butt bugs.
We
never
see peaceful coexistence as his neck is basically like popping out like a David Cronenberg film.
Yeah, bullshit, guys. Bullshit. Eventually, Star Trek will get back to butt bugs. It's only a matter of time. That storyline is still ripe for the picking. We keep saying it.
Mm-hmm.
Keep saying it.
That signal was going somewhere, dude.
It's spreading slowly.
You want to do a new Star Trek movie? It's butt bugs, guys.
Star Trek butt bugs.
Star Trek butt bugs coming to a theater near you, 2036. Because we're not getting another Star Trek movie for like 10 years. I mean, I hope we do. Guys, that's it.
Woo.
That's a wrap on live shows for 2025.
Damn.
Before we go, we cannot do this show without you. Like, I just want to say that because doing this live, if we don't have your interactions to go off of either, like it's nowhere near as fun. So thank you week in and week out, whether it's a little bit dead in the chat, whether the chat's hopping like tonight, because the chat was hopping tonight. We love having you here and we love your submissions. We love your chat. We love having you in the Discord. Strange New Pod from day one has always been about having that community input. So thank you for another amazing year, even though I know the outside world may not have seemed that way. Thank you for sticking with us because I know that like it was also a bit of a tumultuous year on the Trek side of things as well. So thank you. We have new Trek in a few short weeks. Starfleet Academy is coming up. I believe a couple of you have watched some of it already. I have not.
I have not either.
So cannot wait to start talking about that with you guys. Our first live show of 2026 will be on the 8th. We will be doing our wants and don't wants for Starfleet Academy. We hope to have a lot of your user submissions for that one. And then we're going into reviews, guys. So make sure to tune in our next 2 weeks for some pre-recorded shows. Jim Johnson and Carlos Cisco. That's Christmas Day and New Year's Day. We will see you in 2026. Cannot wait. For Emcee, for Hawk, I am Julian. Live long and prosper. Majram. Sarcastic Vulcan salute. See you on the flip side.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays, guys. Night, night.
Thanks for beaming into our podcast today. If you want to keep the hailing frequencies open, you can subscribe on Apple and Google Podcasts, YouTube, and Spotify. Like what you hear? Put in a good word with Starfleet and leave us a 5-star review.